Hello and assalamu alaikum. My name is Adnan Iqbal. I welcome all of you. In this video, we are going to talk about the forced swim test. So, forced swim test is a behavioral test for the rodents like the mice and the rat. And in this test, we find out the depressive-like behavior in rodents. So, what we do in this test, we take the cylinder and fill it with water, and we place an animal in this cylinder, and the animal will start to swim. So during the animal swimming, there are some episodes in which the animal remain immobile. So that immobility is being measured as the depressive-like behavior in animal. So in other words, the more the animal remain immobile, the more the animal has a negative mood or the depressive-like behavior. So for example, if you place the animal like the mice in this cylinder filled water for 6 minutes, and before the administration to the mice, the animal immobility time was 1 minute, and after the drug administration to the mice, the animal immobility time becomes 30 seconds. So it means that after the drug administration, the immobility time in an animal decreases. So it means the drug has a positive impact on the mood of an animal, or the drug has an antidepressant effect. So the force swim test, also known as the behavioral display test, or also being known as the Salt force swim test. These both are the names of the force swim test. And in this test, immobility time is being measured to find out the depression-like behavior. Also, you know that in the force swim test, we take the cylinder, and that cylinder is made up of the plexiglass, because plexiglass is a resistant glass, is a good glass, and there is a less chance of damaging that glass. So therefore, plexiglass is used, and the dimension of the cylinder in the force swim test is 20 by 30 height in centimeter, and the water which is filled in the cylinder, the temperature of the water is 25 plus minus 1 degree centigrade. And you know that the force swim test can be used for both the rat and the mice. So the procedure is slightly different for both the rat and the mice. For example, if you take the rat, so if for the rat, the water uh, filling in the cylinder should be up to the 30 centimeter mark. But for example, if you are taking the mice, as the mice are smaller as compared to the rat, so the water filling should be up to the level of 15 centimeter. So when we talk about the scoring of the force swim test, how we will measure the immobility time of an animal in the force swim test. Generally, when you place an animal in the cylinder filled water, the animal will do the floating, the animal will also swim, and the animal will also show some struggling. The floating is also known as the immobility, and the struggling is also known as the climbing. So the floating is being described as when the mouse remain completely still, other than the slight involuntary movement required to remain upright and afloat. Swimming is being recognized in animal when the animal do the calm paddling, including the movement of all the four legs or just two hind limbs. And struggling or climbing is the vigorous swimming by an animal, or the animal comes closer to the cylinder walls and climb in an attempt to escape from the cylinder. So let's talk about the procedure for the force swim test. And you know that in the force swim test, both the rat and the mice can be used, and so there is a difference. There is a slight difference in the procedure between the rat and the mice. So, for example, if you are taking the mice in the force swim test, the cylinder filled with water is up to the 16 centimeter, and for the rat, the cylinder filled with water up to the level of 30 centimeter. So as the rats are somewhat larger as compared to the mice, so the water filling is more for the rat as compared to the mice. Another difference is the time period which you place an animal in the cylinder filled water. For the mice, you have to place an animal in the cylinder filled water for 6 minutes, and for the rat, you have to place an animal in the cylinder filled water for 15 minutes. So the time period is more for the rat as compared to the mice. So the water filling is more for the rat, and the time period also more for the rat as compared to the mice. So this is the major difference in the procedure of the force swim test, and other procedure is relatively same. So another thing which you want to take in your consideration while you're performing the fourth sim test is the acclimation of an animal. Now, what is the acclimation of an animal? Acclimation means the adjustment or adaptation of an animal to the new environment. So for example, if you are taking your animal from the different area to the new room in which you have to perform the experiment, then do not start the experiment on the animal suddenly. You first place an animal into that new room for some hour and then perform the experiment, because that helps to stabilize an animal psychologically, and the animal mood will not interfere with your results. So always acclimatize an animal. In the case of the mice, the acclimation time period for the mice is 1 hour into the new room, and after 1 hour, then you perform an experiment.